Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second Alan Wake stream. I am your host, Arun Dragon. As a reminder, if you're new here and you like what you see and want to see more, don't forget to support the channel by liking and subscribing. In this stream, I'm going to try to finish the main game, and that way I can focus on the DLC and American Nightmare, and maybe wrap this thing up in 4 streams. But first, I'm going to go through. But first, once I continue the game, the first thing to do.
Previously on Alan Wake, I'm hunted by the law.
Sheriff, Wake's running. I'm giving chase.
Are you seriously telling me that writer just took out my deputies?
A thriller I supposedly wrote is coming true. The genre of the story seems to be shifting. It's turning into a horror story. I was told that Alice had been kidnapped, but that was a lie.
We don't have his wife. We don't know where she is.
Her purported kidnapper was eaten up by the dark presence before it attacked me.
Alan, shh, baby.
Now, the first thing I'm going to do is the episode 3 manuscript pages. I didn't do this at the end of the last stream because we were already significantly past the 4-hour mark. So let's go ahead and go through the episode 3 pages.
Like Rose, that little smile she had, how she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer, but those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble, and they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station.
It was just...
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes.
I still wish this game had a next page, previous page key instead of having to go back to the menu for each one.
Through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale shook his arm free, marched out. His cheeks burned with rage and humiliation. Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say. The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again. I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me. The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I fell toward the dark waters of the lake far below. Rose didn't know how the strange old lady got in her trailer, and she looked wrong somehow. The woman showed her teeth in an approximation of a smile and traced a finger down Rose's cheek. "Pretty girl," she said. Rose felt as if she was falling asleep, but her knees didn't buckle. The crone spoke in a whisper, her words ice cold and dark in Rose's ear.
Hello, Di. Glad you could come.
Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn in black and gray crayons. The old lady had promised her that all her wishes would come true. She would be Alan Wake's muse. She was smiling so hard it hurt her face. She crushed a bottle full of sleeping pills into the coffee. Deep down inside, she was screaming in terror. Danny had stepped out, but what stumbled back in was something else. Something alien. A monster. Walter tried to kill it, first with his fists, then a chair. It wouldn't die. Instead, it kept coming, unaffected by the beating it had taken. After Walter managed to kick it down the cellar stairs, fear took over. He ran, got behind the wheel, gunned the engine. The booze wouldn't make him forget, but he knew he had to try. The bulldozer's engine roared to life. Mud and rocks flew as it fought for traction. It crashed the concrete wall and landed heavily in the yard. If it were an animal, it would have shaken its head after the impact, fixed its eyes on me, and charged. Of course, it had no head, nor eyes. Shadows crawled on its form, twisting it into a monster. Then, it came for me. Even after all this time, hearing the Night Springs theme caused a surge of conflicting emotions in me. It'd been my first real writing gig. Barry had known a guy who knew a guy, and suddenly I'd been a semi-regular writer on the show. I'd always been ashamed of the job. Felt it was trash. I'd wanted to be an artist, a novelist. I'd been naive back then. It had taken a long time to learn to be proud of the work.
And thus, you find out Wake really did work for Night Springs.
With Nightingale gone and the night wind blowing in through the broken studio window, Maine stared at Sarah. The sheriff looked away. Maine's voice shook with barely controlled anger. "That boy's doing more drinking than thinking. I hope you know what you're doing, Sarah. He's got a sickness in his eyes. You take my word for it. He wants Wake for a reason, and it's not for anything good." When Thomas Zane fell for Barbara Jagger, it happened fast. She was young, vibrant, and beautiful, full of life. He had never been a very happy man, and without any seeming effort, she had changed all that. Zane felt good for the first time in his life. Everything she did was another piece of a jigsaw puzzle he hadn't even known he'd been missing. And best of all, she made the words flow, strong and sharp. She was his muse.
There are a lot of pages in episode 3.
Some retained echoes of their former selves, but these were just the nerve twitches of a dead thing. Nothing remained but a shell covered and filled with darkness. In most cases, these puppets were enough for the purposes of the dark presence. But for anything more elaborate, as with the writer, it was different. It needed his mind. And so rather than taking him over completely, it merely touched him. I stared through the bars of the jail cell. Barry stood behind me, swaying on his feet, looking as ill as I felt. Agent Nightingale stood on the other side of the bars with Sheriff Breaker. Nightingale had a stack of manuscript pages in his hand. He seemed unhinged as he gloated. "Well, I've got you now, Raymond Chandler. It's all here. All the evidence, including conspiracy to murder a federal agent."
Hello, Mary. Glad you could make it. Okay. Down to the last 9 pages.
Things were never as simple in real life as in fiction. I had lost count of the times I had wished there'd be a clear reason for my writer's block. Something to fight. Something to lash out on. There wasn't. I was filled with doubt. I was nothing like the hero in my books. Alex Casey had gone through his life with single-minded determination, never wavering from his goal. Even now, I was angry at myself, angry at Alice, angry at Barry. I was fumbling and I had no plan. Even behind the closed doors and curtains of his grimy room at the Majestic, the local motel, Nightingale could feel the locals' eyes on him, the unrelenting pressure of their judgment. He forced it out of his mind. For all he knew, they could all be under Wake's spell already. You do what you have to do to get the job done. He took comfort from the bottle in his hand. Please, he thought. Just let me get through this. Maud had checked all of Stucky's rental cabins. There had been no sign of the Wakes. It was dark when he'd found their car parked at the end of the road by Cauldron Lake. It made no sense. They must have taken a wrong turn, but there was no sign of them, and the car had been there for hours already. Frustrated, Mott stood on the rotten ruin of the footbridge that had once led to Diver's Isle before it sank beneath the waves years ago. The boss wouldn't be happy. I tried to hold on to Alice, but her form melted away. I was losing control. Dr. Hartman stood in her place. I wanted to hit him, but my arms were jelly. He smiled. It was a reassuring smile, and I hated him for it. I had to give you a sedative. Don't fight it. You went through another rough period. Right now, it's very important that you stay calm. We don't want you to have another episode. You're a patient at my clinic. Have been for a while now.
That's a little bit of foreshadowing because he's in the clinic now.
For Mott, spying on the writer on the ferry had been a disappointment. His boss had made Wake out to be something special, but Mott hadn't been impressed. He'd gotten a good long look at the wife, though, and he liked what he saw. Mott had fantasized about goading Wake into a fight, but it hadn't happened. Still, he'd get his chance to see if the writer had anything in him. He'd been promised as much. The hunters were big, thick-set men, confident and at home in the woods. They were feeling good, running on beer, ghost stories, and camaraderie late into the night. It did them no good, as they were taken by the dark presence, sucked deep into a darkness far worse than any ghost story they ever told or heard. Doc sat down heavily. He examined Barry and Rose. Barry was already recovering. Rose was another story. She was conscious, but she was barely present, almost delirious, disturbed, touched in the head, they used to say. It wasn't the first time Doc had seen someone in such a state, but it had been over 30 years. Doc poured himself a stiff drink. He hadn't forgotten a thing. I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. In it, I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. In it, I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. In it, I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. In it, I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. In it, I lifted the page in front of my eyes and read it. Lightning flashed behind the windows of Cauldron Lake Lodge. Tor Anderson laughed and held the steel hammer above his head. Nurse Sinclair was trying to calm him down without success. Tor grinned madly and shouted, "My hammer's up. Here's a friendly poke from Molnir, wench." He brought the hammer down with all his might on Sinclair's head. "We're on a comeback tour, baby."
Okay, and that's all the pages from episode 3. Now we're going to go into episode 4.
Alice. There you go, Alan. Hartman, I fell.
I had to give you a sedative. Don't fight it. You went through another rough period.
What?
Right now, it's very important that you stay calm. We don't want you to have another episode. You're a patient at my clinic. Have been for a while now. The shock of your wife's death triggered a mental illness.
No, you lie.
You're suffering from various symptoms of undifferentiated schizophrenia.
Bastard.
It's okay, Alan. Just let go.
I felt groggy. Whatever Hartman had bumped in me was making me numb. I felt like this was happening to someone else. Someone I was watching on television. I couldn't think. Couldn't focus. The door was locked. I was a prisoner here. There were only empty sheets of paper here. No manuscript pages.
Good evening, Alan. Are we feeling better now? Feeling calm?
Yeah. I see you brought your pet gorilla with you. So sure, I'm calm. I get the message. Loud and clear.
Quite right. That's the spirit. You're being very brave, Alan. I understand you're confused. I would be more concerned if you weren't suspicious of me. I don't blame you for it.
Big of you.
Now, why don't you come with me? We'll reacquaint you with my clinic and go over everything you might have forgotten. Little walk and some fresh air? Yes, it will do you good. This corridor is for patients. Most of them aren't here right now. Jack took them out for a fishing trip, except for the ones who are particularly vulnerable, of course. I encourage creativity as a part of the recovery process here at Cauldron Lake Lodge. I specialize in treating artists.
I bet you do.
Splendid, Alan. I honestly believe we can get this thing under control if we work together. This way, Alan. Now, Alan, from past experience with you, I know I need to get right into the heart of the matter as quickly as I can after an episode. So I'm just going to say this. Alice is dead.
No.
You're in a very vulnerable state until you understand and accept this. Alice drowned, and you couldn't face that. You're suffering from hallucinations, paranoid delusions, unusual thinking, an obsession about light and darkness, a feeling that everything revolves around you, your thoughts and dreams. Your mind has constructed an elaborate fantasy scenario in which your writings are affecting reality. She has been kidnapped and supernatural forces of darkness are trying to stop you. We go this way, Alan.
I wasn't ready for another shot, so I went along with it. He had to be lying. But under the influence of the drug he had given me, I had to fight not to believe his words.
It's all in your head. You've been making it up. Apart from the tragic accident with your wife, no one has been killed. Your delusions are just a manifestation of your subconscious mind trying to protect you from the too painful truth. Unless we fight the fantasy, it will return. I know the instinct is to resist me, but think about it. Doesn't this make far more sense than the insane supernatural conspiracy you have concocted in your mind? You're a skeptic by nature, Alan. We both know this. Everything can be explained logically.
Beyond the shadow you settle for, there's a miracle illuminated. TZ. In the memory of a dear friend and poet.
I never get tired of this view. Very inspiring, isn't it?
Cauldron Lake spread below us. I could see Mirror Peak on the other side of the lake. I thought I could make out the spot where Diver's Isle had been when I arrived with Alice. Now there was nothing but waves.
It seems there's a storm coming. Funny, I don't recall there being a mention of that in the weather forecast. Well, no matter. This way. Follow me. Alan,
No.
what I'm telling you is good news. Right now we're in control. Every time you have a relapse, it gets more and more difficult to resurface from the dark depths of your imagination. Not surprising, considering your profession. Imagination is what you work with. After all your nightmares, this should come as an immense relief to you. If it doesn't, why is that? Because I'm lying? Or because you don't want to admit that you're not well? It's very natural for you to think of me as your enemy. It's part of the illness.
I let him talk.
After all,
Hartman
I'm the one
obviously
trying
loved
to
his
bring
own
you
voice.
out of the
His
world
words
you've
echoed
constructed
madly
for yourself.
inside my head.
But I can't
I dug my
do it
nails
by
into the
myself.
palms of my hands to stay
You need
focused.
to work with me. Once you accept that, we can begin the journey towards your recovery. Come along. Let's go inside. Here's the entrance to the office wing. That's for staff only. You were impressed by my trophies when you first arrived here. I do love to hunt. The great outdoors, man versus nature. It's wonderful stuff.
Pretty damn wonderful, yeah.
scary, scary.
Emerson.
I'm a real bad dream, mister. You should be afraid of me. Don't want to run into me in the night, that's for sure.
Please, Emerson. Mr. Wake is confused enough as it is.
Yeah, you'd like me to go away so you won't be scared. But you can't just decide what kind of dream you have or when you have it.
Emerson.
Okay. Sorry. Boo.
That's Emerson. We're actually making some progress with him, I'm happy to say. He works on video
Elbow
games.
strike. Ooh,
It's
yeah.
trash, of course, but it does involve
Get
some
him to the head.
small creative effort, which makes him receptive to my therapeutic methods.
No kidding.
Come, Alan, this way. Now, you might have noticed the typewriter in your room. You've been writing as a part of the therapy. As soon as you feel up to it, you should continue.
Welcome to Cauldron Lake Lodge. We're here to give you the specialized help you need. However, please observe the following. Please ask friends and family to schedule visits beforehand to ensure they don't interfere with your therapy and/or periods of creativity. Also, please respect your fellow patients' need for privacy and personal space, especially when they're engaged by their creative processes. Be patient. Typically, our patients have long-term creative problems and they won't be solved overnight. Give yourself permission to take the time you need. Bear in mind that you're voluntarily receiving treatment that has been specifically tailored for you. Engagement therapy and its sister method, the flow, work best when you are actively engaged in shaping them. If you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to voice them.
My rheumatism's killing me. There's a storm coming. Oh, what a storm.
I hope it wipes this place off the face of the earth.
And these two are the Anderson brothers, Odin and Thor. They had how should I put this? A heavy metal band in the 70s and 80s called Old Gods of Asgard. They even adopted new first names to complete the image of Viking gods. After the band broke up, they lived on a farm nearby. They are, well, in advanced stages of dementia. They're well cared for, TLC and all that. There's nothing more that can be done. I'm afraid that the rock and roll lifestyle has left its mark.
No, that won't do. I'm so sorry to cut this short for now, Alan. The power has been acting up. I'd better go check on it. We'll continue this soon. Meanwhile, when you feel up to it, return to your room and try to write. It really is for the best. Don't you think?
I'd like to bash his head in with a hammer.
Oh, he'd love to fish out our secrets, but he has no clue. He's not crazy enough. Not crazy like us, Sonny. Yeah! Being crazy's a requirement, Sonny. Who else could understand the world when it's like this? It takes crazy to know crazy.
That's the sanest thing I've heard in a while.
Say, you're all right, Tom. Hey, we like him, don't we, bro? He's got to go to the farm.
The Anderson Farm. Valhalla!
We wrote it all down, lest we forget. A crash course. All you need to know to get your head right. You need to find the message.
Here, Sonny, here's something for you. Gave me a rash, but I kept it safe from these bastards.
My head was clearing up, or according to Hartman, I was sinking back into the fantasy. I was convinced he was lying to me about everything. Crazy or not, the Andersons made more sense.
And yeah, you're right, he is. This is kind of a spoiler, but kind of not. Dr. Hartman, you notice how he's encouraging Alan to write? Essentially what this guy does is he gets you writing or gets you making art or gets you doing whatever, and then whatever you create, yeah, they called him Tom. They knew Thomas Zane. And they are in dementia, so they thought Alan Wake was Tom. Anyway, what I was saying is that Dr. Hartman, he encourages you to create, and then whatever you create, he copyrights and sells in his name. That's his scam.
Well, he's the boss.
I may need a hand here later on, Birch. The storm's bound to make you-know-who jumpy. You know how they get.
Gotcha. Doc's got me looking after Wake.
Something's wrong.
I'll do that, Birch.
I'm not myself. It's hard to think that there's a shadow inside my head. I can only focus on writing. Everything else is a blur. I'm trapped in this cabin. Have been for days, but it's always dark outside. My editor is real. I saw her again. She's not human. It's not human. A dark presence is wearing the old woman's face. She was covered in clinging shadows. There's a hole in her chest where her heart should be. I think I've made a horrible mistake. I don't think I'm any closer to saving Alice. It's been lying to me, using me to get the story it wants, and the story will come true.
Hartman had mentioned that the power had been acting up. Maybe that was the reason for the generator and the work light on the balcony. The generator hadn't been activated, and there was no key.
Hey, Wake, why don't you humor Dr. Hartman and give the writing a shot, huh? Typewriter's in your room.
Emerson's room. And of course you notice there's a Night Springs video game and an Xbox, because this is the guy that writes computer games. Lane is a painter, so of course there's canvas in his room. And that room is just flat out locked.
Hartman wanted me to write. I knew I couldn't, but I figured I should just... The white glare of the blank page in front of me hurt my eyes. My hands began to shake uncontrollably.
Hey, Wake, you stay here. I'm gonna go see what's up. You just keep doing what you're doing. Be cool, okay?
I didn't know what the chaos was all about, but it could be my only chance of getting out of here.
Oh, afraid of the crazy brothers, are ya? Not so weak now, are we? Well, things are unraveling fast, aren't they?
Sinclair looked bad. That wasn't a love tap. The crazy old fart hit her hard. If she was one of Hartman's goons, she had it coming. I had to get to Hartman's office. He had taken all my manuscript pages. That's where he'd been keeping them.
Come out and face the music, Birch. It's time to pay the piper. Maybe you could come out and be your
The photo on the wall caught my attention. In it, the clinic staff was standing outside the lodge. I knew the man next to Hartman. He was the kidnapper. Hartman had been playing me all along. The markings on the tape said they were recordings Hartman had made of the sessions with his patients. I saw Alice's name on one of them. For a moment, I couldn't breathe right.
Now, Mrs. Wake, can you tell me about Alan's problems?
He's more and more out of control all the time. The parties, he's angry all the time. He's getting violent.
Do you mean with you?
No, not with me. No, never. Sometimes I almost wish Alan would take a swing at me, because at least that lead to a conversation he couldn't just march out of. But no. Alan doesn't really sleep. And the work, well, he's not writing at all. He sits there for hours and just gets more and more frustrated. And I can't talk to him.
Yes. Tell me, Mrs. Wake. What would you say to him if he'd listen?
I don't know. I want to say, I look at you, and it's not you. Just some stranger who resembles you. Looking out from behind your eyes. And I don't like that guy much. And now it's all gonna go to hell.
But you don't ever say this.
No. I've tried, but he's not listening. He's too deep in his own problems. Always going on about something else. I'm so afraid I'm gonna lose him. And we're not even talking anymore. He doesn't let me in anymore. He just keeps me in the dark. I'm so alone here, even when he's home. Please help me, Doctor, because I'm at my wit's end.
Well, if you can just get him here, I'll absolutely do my very best.
Yeah, but Doctor, you need to be careful with him. He's not just going to listen to you and cooperate. He's the most stubborn man I've ever met.
Well, I'll be sure to bear that in mind.
Hearing her voice, what she was saying made me happy and sick and guilty all at once. Worst of all, I recognized the words. The phone call from her. It had been a cut-up of this. Just a recording.
Let me out of here! Arthur, do you hear me? I'm gonna chew your crazy quack ass to shreds!
Barry?
Ow! About time!
Barry! Man, am I glad to see you. We need to get to Hartman's office.
It's right next door.
You okay?
Yeah.
These were all the pages I had on me. And more.
Alan, please. You're sliding back into the...
Tell me one more lie and I'll shoot you in the face.
Ah, well, it was worth a shot. Really, Wake, come on. Let's work together on this. You have no idea...
Hartman, shut up! Barry, get out of here. I'll catch up with you. Get a car.
Oh, Al, let's just...
Go!
Wake, listen to me. This is a mistake. Don't you see? Together we can create something absolutely wonderful. With your ability and mine.
Well, that might get the rest of them. Oh, by the way, small note. Things like that QR code that's on the wall, they actually do still work even today, and they take you to a relevant page on the on Remedy's website. Thanks.
Al! I'm here! I found the car, but the gate's locked. You're gonna have to go through the hedge maze over there.
Barry, I don't have a light.
Take this, Al! Oh, God! Look at the house, Al! Look out!
Don't trust Emil. Gosh, I wish you'd told me that earlier, lady.
Al, be careful! I can see the moving
I think I just shot him in the crotch twice.
You get 2 pills in the morning, and then you'll be nice and calm all day long.
Really not that fair, having to fight a Taken at the same time as having birds coming at you. Hello, Carrie. Oh, great. Well, at least now I have plenty of revolver ammo. Emil made Tom do it. trying to figure out what's with the arrow pointing over here. Usually that's another... Oh yeah, down here. A pointer to a cache of equipment. Not bad. 12 shotgun rounds and 42 rounds for the revolver.
Let's get out of here. Can you open this gate?
Maybe.
Barry.
Well, I slammed it shut when the nasty showed up, and the key fits kind of loose in the lock, so, Barry, I'll find it. Don't worry about it.
Hurry up, Barry!
I'm on it! It's gotta be here! Just hang on!
And I've got to be dead, thanks.
Hurry up, Barry!
I'm on it!
And dead.
Hurry up, Barry!
I'm on it!
Come on, guys. Come right this way.
You're now leaving Bright Falls. Come back soon, sign.
We're going to the Anderson farm.
I knew you were gonna say something like that. You know what? You owe me big time for this. When this is through, if we make it, I don't care what anybody says, I'm done with darkness. You're gonna buy me a tanning bed as a gift, and I'm gonna live in it.
Crazy, but that's fine, Barry.
Oh, you got that right, Al. You're barking mad. You are by far the craziest...
But maybe that's inevitable when you deal with crazy stuff like this. It helps. This is happening, Barry. Alice They never had Alice. She's trapped in the darkness at the bottom of the lake, but she's not dead.
Al, how can you know that?
I know, Barry. I can...
Al,
No, listen. I can bring her back. I can find her. There's something special about this place. The lake, it does something to the works of art created here. It makes them come true. But there's a catch. The dark presence, whatever that thing is, twists it to its own ends. That's why all of this is happening. It's using my manuscript to take over everything.
Al, I believe you.
It happened to Thomas Zane before, it happened to the Andersons.
I believe you. Crazy or not, you're not delusional. Weird shit's going down. That's a fact. I'm on board, man. I'm with you.
The Andersons knew about it, but they were too far gone to tell me with all the drugs they were on. But they wrote it down. There's a message somewhere at their farm, Barry. We just need to find it. Look out! I had lost my gun in the crash. Barry was nowhere to be seen.
Barry! Barry!
Oh, man, you're okay! Jeez, it's good to hear your voice! I was trying to get out of the car, but the ground gave way. Man, what a drop! Don't worry, your cutout is fine.
Thanks, Barry.
Are you okay?
I hit some bushes, didn't get a scratch. There's no way you can climb down, though. It's like a sheer wall. Al! There's something moving down here!
Barry, it's a taken! Use a flare, Barry!
Oh, yeah!
Barry, are you alright?
I'm good, Al! I'm great! Guess you never messed with anyone from New York City before, huh? You're gonna have to find your way around to the farm, Al! I'll be waiting!
Barry, just wait for me, okay?
Al! I'm not staying here! It's suicide! I'm going to the farm! I'm gonna go ahead and secure the area. You can catch up. Don't worry about it. I'm on the case.
Now he's Rambo. This would turn into a disaster if I didn't catch up with Barry.
Thank goodness for those utility lights. Come over this way. Come on, come this way. My kingdom for a flashlight.
This would turn into a disaster if I didn't catch up with Barry.
Well, I guess I don't need the flashlight now. Considering I died. Again. Oh, come on. Could I possibly please dodge the damn things? Be nice if Alan had a little bit of stamina, too.
Shadows crawled over the gate. I needed a light to destroy them to get through. I could sense the movement in the woods ahead. Facing the enemy without a weapon was dangerous, but I had no choice.
Nice for there to be a convenient flashlight. No batteries, but a convenient flashlight. How about you stop hitting me in the back with all these axes? That'd be nice.
A car was driving away from the farm, headed in the same general direction as I was. For all I knew, it was Barry, caught in the consequences of leaping before looking.
And now I have a heavy-duty flashlight. Yay! That'll help, actually.
The car was heading for the cabin up ahead. It wasn't far. If it was Barry, I would see the damage soon.
I'm trying to deliver each page to the right time and place. I'm trying to show you how the story goes.
I had seen glimpses of light before. I had seen it in my dream. It was a strange spaceman or a diver in a bulky suit. He was the one who'd been placing the pages on my path.
Yeah, that's true. At least Zane is trying to help out where he can.
Someone had left a gun behind. Now I had a fighting chance of reaching the farm.
Well, unfortunately, it's a shotgun, which means my ammo supply is going to be limited. And I wish it was a pump-action shotgun, not the double barrel. But beggars can't be choosers. And I died because of a damn trap that I didn't see. Thanks. And I died because he caught up with me before I could reload. Dead 2 inches from a light. Come on. And turn back around again. Have fun, guys.
could see the car, but there was no sight of the driver.
Hello? Anybody here? Barry!
No! Danny, you're not! Please! What are you? No! Doug! I'm sorry!
I know you. You were in jail the other day.
I went to the farm again for the moonshine, you know? It makes you see. They're not gonna miss it. They're in the loony bin. My buddy, Danny, I lost him. Something's gone wrong with him. It's not him. Like a real bad follow-up to a real good movie. The best friend's suddenly the bad guy. Who wrote this crap anyway?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I've run through every possible course in my head. If I continue like the Dark Presence wants me to, the story I'm writing won't save Alice. It's a horror story, and it's going to kill her, and me, and everybody in this town. No one will survive. Darkness will consume everything. This is what it's wanted all along. It will be free, unstoppable. It used Alice to get to me, dangled her in front of me to keep me going. It was never going to release her. I'm going to change this. I'll escape. I've written myself into the story. I'm now the protagonist. This feels like a terrible risk, but it's the only way to save Alice. I'll be bound by the events of the story just as much as anyone else who's been woven into it. The story must stay true for this to work. There have to be victims along the way, near escapes, cliffhangers. In a horror story, it can't be certain that the hero will succeed or even survive. He almost has to die. I'll write my own escape into the story next. I need help. Zane's going to be the one who will help me. I'll make it happen.
Going to pause here. First of all, I'm going to refill my water bottle, but just food for thought. Did Zane ever really actually exist if Alan wrote him into the book? Did he actually exist, or did Alan accidentally write him into existence? Ponder that for a bit while I go refill my water bottle. That's another possible interpretation too. But Remedy likes to do that in their games. Control was the same way, where there's just some real mind-bending stuff in it.
Let me guess. Danny, huh? The front door was locked.
The back door was locked. The side window was not, but for some reason it wouldn't let him through. Oh, there it
Still a
goes.
good distance away. I'd need a car to get there fast. If Barry wasn't up here, he was probably in trouble down at the farm. For a moment, I felt bad for doubting him. After all, I made it this far myself. But Barry was Barry.
Slight detour here to collect stuff. Because there's a supply cache in here. Batteries, revolver ammo, flashbangs. Nothing up here, but hey.
Well, as I'm sure everyone's noticed, that storm we all felt coming is finally here. The boys at the Weather Service reckon it'll last until morning at the very least. Pertaining to that, let me read that missing persons alert again. The Sheriff's Department's still looking for a Caucasian woman, 30 years old, slim and blonde with blue eyes, maybe lost in the woods, and it's possible she's been injured in a car accident. If you see her, please make sure you get her indoors and call the sheriff. It's bad weather to be caught out in, so if you see someone in the area who maybe looks a little confused, give them a hand, all right? This is Pat Maine on KBF FM, hoping you're all safe and warm tonight.
I debated keeping the hunting rifle instead of the shotgun, but all things considered, when we get to the big fight scene on the... When we get to the big fight scene on the farm, I'd rather have the shotgun close to me. Well, here's where we get out and go on foot.
I'd known the brothers used to be some kind of rock stars, but it hadn't really sunk in until I saw the stage.
Ow! Run! Incoming! There's too many of them!
God damn!
I'm so glad you decided to go it alone, Mr. Johnson.
Shut up and shoot! Ow! We have to fight them all! I can set off more of the fireworks from here and help you out! Hey, Al! Did you notice there's a lot of ammo and stuff around? This place is stocked! I'm trying to get the stage lights on! Yes! Here we go! I promise! Barry, please, please, please!
Bright Falls, rock and roll capital of America.
Hey, Al! This way to the farm!
Yeah, but before we go to the farm, just in case I need it, I won't deny, though, that was pretty epic. That's also the scene that I was talking about that I might get a copyright claim on. But the good news is that the company that that owns the copyrights they actually have been fairly gracious if you point out that it's fair use / gameplay.
See, bestseller, no reason to worry. Your cutout's good as new, right where I left it. I'll come back for it once we have the place secured.
Yeah, that's been my biggest worry all this time.
Alan says what we've all been thinking.
Get this thing moved out of the way.
This is as far as I got before they ambushed me.
Yeah, well, you know, they're not, it's not BMG or Sony recording artists or whatever. You know, all the really notorious ones. Now, where... Oh, right. Ladder.
Hey, I think Alan Wake here has something to say. What's that, Al?
I'm Alan Wake. I'm always right about everything. And if I don't get my way, I'll sulk all day long. I'm always intense and moody. It makes me very attractive and mysterious. Right now, I'm just standing here because I need my best friend Barry to carry me. But that's okay. I can just take him for granted.
I think I see what you did there.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
You want me to do my imitation of Barry Wheeler? No? Thought so.
Wow! You look at that thing, Al? They really went all out with this Viking crap, didn't they? Look at all this stuff. They must have done okay for themselves, so how come I never heard of these guys before?
And this from the guy who learned about Ozzy Osbourne through reality TV?
Sleep. We all spend a third of
Oh,
our
Night
dreams in
Springs.
soft embrace, somewhere
Brings back
between
memories.
fantasy and
Hey,
oblivion.
remember when I got you that gig? Your first real writing job. What got you started? Is this one of your episodes?
In Night Springs. Tonight's episode, The Dream of Dreams.
That's by someone else.
We join Mr. Jones as he explores the endless dreamscape, only to be brought to a sudden stop by a decidedly mundane situation. A long line of people.
Hey, Jones, right? Listen, we're gonna have to wait until His Highness over there is good and ready. Oh, wow. Who's that? You don't know him? What are you, new? He's the guy dreaming us. Well, not just us. He dreams everything. All of this.
But wait, no. I'm the one who's dreaming. I'm asleep. Isn't this my dream?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Get real, pal. You're just another dream. I'm a dream. You're a dream. The weirdo in the diving suit is a dream. And the girl made of smiles and sunshine is definitely a dream.
But I'm pretty sure I'm dreaming this.
Well, maybe you're a really confused dream. What am I, a shrink? All I know is I'm going with the smart guys. And they say that's the guy doing the dreaming. Right there.
I don't know what that means.
It means we keep him happy. No sudden falls. We make sure he has his clothes on when he goes out in public. No chases where the monster is nipping at his heels and he runs like crazy, but his legs don't seem to get him anywhere. None of that. Because if he wakes up in a cold sweat...
Oh.
Yeah, precisely. So we wait till he wants to move on. Keep things nice and calm.
Hey, something's happening here.
Yeah? What's that?
What? Can't you hear that?
Oh, God help us, it's an alarm clock. Oh, it's you, isn't it? Please, man, I got a wife and kids. Please don't wake.
Viking boat looked imposing, almost like a battering ram.
I wish their tour schedule from 1975 Ragnarok tour. Oh, and coincidentally, that's another link back to Max Payne, because the bar that I forget the character's name who owned it. It was one of the boss enemies in the game, but he owned a bar called the Ragnarok. I think I mentioned this in the last stream. Maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. But the only difference between batteries and lithium batteries in this game is that regular batteries are a 2-pack and lithium batteries are a 4-pack. Come on, asshole.
I think we can make it through here, Al!
Well, that solves that problem. He accidentally electrocuted himself. I'm gonna get killed here. Or maybe I'll luck out. Either way, that got a little bit hairy a few times. And then I've got to get past the truck. I'm glad it didn't actually throw the thing at me.
Those geezers had quite a production going on. Ooh, you know what, Al? If we make it through this alive, I'm gonna start representing them. Yep, sell this stuff online, maybe get a reality show going, release
The
a new
door was
single.
barred from the other side. I'd have to find another way.
Good luck with that, pal.
Hey, you find us a way out here, okay? I'm gonna take a closer look at this stuff.
It's just a stillberry.
Be careful, Al!
At least it left me another 8 shots for the shotgun.
I'm good. Keep your eyes open, okay?
And up another level.
As you regular listeners know, I tend to work through the night, but I'm not the only one. Deputies Mulligan and Thornton are taking a couple of moments off their busy schedule to join me here in the studio. Boys, how busy are you now? Deerfest is almost here, isn't it? I bet that keeps you in business.
Pretty busy, yeah. Actually, Pat, we've been real busy with other stuff, which concerns an ongoing investigation. We can't talk about that, Thornton. I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just saying we got, other irons to fry.
And how would you compare your workload to last year's? Things have seemed relatively peaceful to me, but people do tend to get a little wild this time of year.
Oh, it's wild, Pat. It's pretty wild. There's been all sorts of trouble this year. Vandalism, fighting, public disturbances. A lot of people gone missing, too. Yeah, it's pretty much the usual stuff, Pat. Just, a lot more of it.
Now, is it just me, or does Deerfest get wilder every year? People seem to be more drunk, at least, or they start earlier and younger.
Oh, it's definitely not just you, Pat, but... Definitely, Pat. Hey, I'm talking here, Thornton. Oh, shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Not just me.
Oh, yeah, it's wilder, Pat, but actually most of the trouble seems to be coming from grown men. People who ought to know better, Kids are doing fine this year.
Well, that's nice to hear at least. Boys, I want to thank you for stopping by. I'll let you get back to your patrol.
Sure thing, Pat. Yeah, sure thing, Pat.
I could see the building that had to be the Andersons' home on the other side of the field. It wasn't far now. I wasn't worried about trusting the ramblings of 2 burned-out geriatric wrecks. They had the goods. Got to be kidding me.
Is that you out there, buddy?
Yeah, it's me. Hey.
Hey, let's go, man. I think we're gonna have to work together to open this gate, Al. Looks pretty heavy. Ah! Hey, I think that's the farm on the other side of the field. We're almost there. This farm is a crazy place for crazy people.
We should feel right at home then.
Come on, one more gate. Let's do this thing. Ah! The lights are out. I guess we better check the fuse box.
The power downstairs was out, but I was sure I could fix that at the fuse box.
Just gotta find the fuse box. Would you get out of my way, Barry?
You know, this place looks kind of lived in. I thought the Andersons were in the booby hatch.
Yeah, I don't think they keep too close an eye on them at the clinic. They seem to slip away a lot so they can get wasted.
No kidding. Those guys sound awesome. Can you hear that, Al? Music?
Of course. We need to find where it's coming from. That's the message the Andersons talk about. That's the whole reason we're here.
Lady of the Light? Oh, that's gotta be what's-her-face, the crazy lamp lady from the town.
Cynthia Weaver.
Right. Must be. Okay.
We need to find Cynthia Weaver. We'll stay here for the night and head back to town as soon as it gets light.
Hey, Al. Lots of hours before dawn. Might as well get some rest. And by rest, I mean drunk.
Come on, Barry. This is... Yeah, what the hell?
Seriously, oh, we don't get along, but we're gonna find her, right? Even though you're a crazy bastard, I'm gonna stick by you, no matter what, ever, Al. Sure, like a brother.
I'm a writer, god damn it.
Correct.
If I just wanted to, I could write 10 books a year. And they'd be the best books that year.
No, you couldn't.
That's right, I couldn't. But I could, because I'm a writer.
What? What do they put in this stuff? I feel like my brain is coming out of my nose. I'm gonna get the recipe off those coots and be a booze millionaire.
I just miss her, Barry. I just want her here with me.
I know, Al. I know. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it okay.
It was a crazy, drunken dream, and yet it was more than that. It was the truth, a suppressed memory unearthed by the Andersons' moonshine. I was there, an out-of-body observer. This was the night Alice and I had arrived at Bright Falls, the night Alice had disappeared. I had a chance to find out what had happened.
Alice!
I remembered being surprised to see the cabin dark. Alice would have never turned the lights off. I remembered thinking I caught a glimpse of her form underwater, sinking into the darkness. Diving after her was the last vague memory I had of that night. After that, the next thing I could remember was waking up behind the wheel of the crash car and finding the first pages of the manuscript. Beyond this lost memory, there was nothing. I had to follow the footsteps of my past self to find out what had happened that night. I couldn't find her in all that blackness. I must have thought she drowned.
Alice!
Jagger had Alice, and so she had me.
Alice!
I'd been easy prey.
Look at the cabin. Is there someone in the window?
Alice?
Maybe she didn't drown after all. Maybe she's inside.
Alice!
Yes.
The dark presence had touched me. She had dug her nails into my brain and used me, made me her puppet.
She must be here somewhere. Maybe upstairs in the study.
Alice!
Yes, that's where she is. You can apologize.
Alice!
You'll laugh at the whole thing together and put it
Alice?
behind you. She's not here. You were foolish to think so. No, she's dead. She drowned.
No, no, no!
It's your fault your wife is dead. You are guilty. All she wanted was to help you right. You killed her.
Ah!
Oh, hush. There's still hope. Cauldron Lake is a special place. Here, you have the power to change things. She wanted you to write. I will tell you what to do. You can write her back. The story will come true, and all will be well again.
She had Alice, and the manuscript was the ransom for her. Yes. All right. I'll fix it. I'll bring her back. No. I wrote it. I remembered it all now. In the dark, I'd written for days, a week, almost a complete manuscript of a novel entitled Departure. Jagger had been my editor, whispering in my ear, making sure that the unfolding story would make her more and more powerful. I thought I was saving Alice. Even with the cobwebs she put in my head, some part of me had been aware enough to write my escape into the story, to bring a light into the cabin to release me before I could finish, to interrupt the horror story before the ending, where darkness consumed everything and everyone. Zane was weak and far away, but I had written him into the story, and his light had been enough to set me free.
It isn't here now. I'm here because it was written. I brought the light to set you free. You must hurry. It will know I'm here. It will be back soon. It stole the skin of my partner a long time ago. She looks so old.
I had woken up, confused and groggy, my mind consumed by darkness and fear. All I could do was to escape. spent in the cabin had taken its toll. I was barely conscious, and fading fast. It had to have cost Zane terribly, thrown him even deeper into whatever dark place he now haunted. But he had managed to weaken the dark presence, kept me safe that night.
Well, for a certain definition of safe, anyway.
I wrote it. It's my fault.
That's right, James Joyce. It's your fault, and you're gonna pay for it.
Previously on Alan Wake. Under the influence of the dark presence, I wrote a horror story that is coming true. Jagger had been my editor, making sure that the unfolding story would make her more and more powerful. Some part of me had been aware enough to write my escape into the story.
Together we can create something absolutely wonderful.
The leg, it does something to the works of art created here. It makes them come true. My mom gave me this old light switch.
The clicker.
Alice is being kept in a dark prison. I need to find Cynthia Weaver to fix this.
It's your fault, and you're gonna pay for it.
Well, we're expecting...
Okay, usual procedure. We're going to go through the pages from episode 4.
Zane could feel the poems, taking form, shaping things. As he experimented, he imagined he could almost feel the power surging through the keys of the typewriter. It exhilarated him. But there was fear, too. If not for his young assistant Emil, he would have given it up. But Emil convinced him otherwise. He, too, had a way with words. Hartman kept talking, giving Barry the grand tour, clearly proud of the place. He went on and on about his hunting trophies, and Barry was impressed. But he was here on business. He raised his voice, cut through the monologue. Hey, Hartman, where's Al? Hartman stopped in mid-sentence, annoyed at the interruption. He nodded at the hulking orderly standing nearby. The man smiled and clapped a practiced hand on Barry's shoulder. Hartman followed the fall of Alan Wake with his binoculars. When the rider hit the water, he ordered Jack to take the boat to him. The spot was easy to see in the dark, even with all the extra lights in the boat. The flare floated and kept burning, even in the water. Jack turned the radio louder as the engine sputtered. The music was rough and clanking, something the Anderson brothers would no doubt have enjoyed. But Hartman chose to ignore it. Wake was finally within his reach. Hartman knew he was no creator. He had no ambitions on that front. And he certainly didn't want to end up like every artist he had worked with here, damaged in ways that were hard to describe, or worse. It was enough for Hartman to maintain creative control and provide direction, to be a producer. That was what most of these people were in need of anyway. Of course, suitable subjects were few and far in between. I stared at the Viking paraphernalia that littered the area, surrounding an unlikely centerpiece. A full-size stage complete with an impressive sound system with all the trimmings, including a dragon. It took a special kind of crazy to build something like this in a remote field. When the sky split open with a deafening boom and the music started blasting, it felt strangely appropriate. For the moment, Barry was just glad he had survived the fall. He had been separated from Al, and there was no easy way to climb back up. He told himself he'd be okay in the gloomy forest at night. He would just have to wait for a while for Al to find his way down. Barry turned when he heard the heavy footsteps and saw the movement. The man-shaped shadow lunged at him from the bushes, an axe held high. Barry screamed and threw up his hand. The world exploded. Mott knew that Wake was smarter than him. Wake had more money, a beautiful wife, everything. And Hartman said Wake was important. That made him better than Mott. But Mott was calling the shots now. He'd expected Wake to whimper and grovel, but instead, he seemed willing to fight. Mott knew he'd gotten under Wake's skin. If only Mott actually had his wife. The thought made him shiver. Hartman wasn't happy. Mott could see it in his eyes. He quickly lowered his own. He had made a mess of it, and he knew it. The shame of failure was hard to bear. He hadn't expected Wake to say he needed more time. and he blurted out 2 days, less than Wake had asked for to show him who was in charge. But that wasn't part of Hartman's plan. Hartman hurried down the corridor. He had disliked leaving Wake when he was surely at his most susceptible to therapy. But this was not an ordinary storm. Wake had been writing, and he had woken something up in the depths of the lake. Now, it was coming for him. Hartman had naturally prepared for a situation like this. The idiot brothers would keep Wake distracted while Hartman double-checked everything, just to be sure. Hartman watched as Wake's features slackened. The man was bullheaded, no doubt. Even lying on the bed, he'd almost broken Hartman's nose the second time. But with a little time, he could break Wake down, give him proper direction. Wake was easily the most promising subject he'd had. Well, since Tom, really. "Sleep well, Alan," Hartman whispered with a smile. "Let me take care of you." He sniffed hard to clear his throbbing nose, swallowed blood, and barely tasted it. Agent Nightingale stared at the passed-out rider. The man was sleeping off one hell of a night. Nightingale felt a stab of envy at Wake's oblivion, but he had a job to do. He put the gun to Wake's head and almost became a murderer. His hand shook and his throat felt tight and dry. Biting his teeth, he tried again to pull the trigger. He lost the nerve. Wake stirred. Nightingale would have to settle for an arrest. The storm raged on as the Anderson brothers walked unsteadily away from the clinic with the other patients in tow, knowing that this time they wouldn't return. The darkness around them seethed with horrors, but Tor and Odin were unafraid. Their eyes glinted with guile. They knew every secret path, and there was blood on their hands. They had fought these shades before. The dark presence followed the choreography laid out to it in the manuscript, growing stronger and stronger, moving like a storm from one scene of destruction to the next. But it was still bound to follow the story and chained to the dark place it came from. When the story reached the end it longed for, it would finally be free. It's 1976. Madness reigns at the Anderson farm. Contrary to all logic, the headiest ingredient of their moonshine is unfiltered water from Cauldron Lake.
Oh, goody.
The Andersons feel like gods. Odin can't stop laughing. He contemplates cutting his eye out. Tor runs across the field, naked, shrieking, hammer in his hand, trying to catch lightning. Their songs have power. Something ancient is stirring in the depths, coming back. Again, Alice's screams rang in the stillness of the night. I saw myself run toward the cabin, flashlight in my hand. I followed my past self. I was an out-of-body observer, a time traveler in a crazy drunken dream. This was the beginning. The night Alice had disappeared. The mystery of what had happened during the missing week was about to reveal itself. When he stopped the car at the Anderson farm, Walter felt relieved. Oblivion was close at hand. The brothers wouldn't miss a jar of moonshine or two in the booby hatch. But then he saw the man on the porch, and he knew who it was. Driving for his life and knowing it was useless, he didn't realize he was crying until he couldn't see the road for the tears. Hartman had never felt as anxious as during the week after Maud had managed to lose the Wakes. Their car stood by the path that had once led to Diver's Isle. Hartman thought about Thomas Zane's cabin in the depths. It was only a matter of time before Wake started writing. They had to be found, and fast. The moment he heard on the police radio that Sheriff Breaker had picked up Wake, he was already in his car driving toward town. For a moment, Hartman considered strangling the idiot. Mott was mean-spirited, but easily manipulated, an emotional infant who lived for his approval. Wake, by contrast, was a far more difficult subject. Mott had given him too much leash. In 2 days, who knew what could happen? Hartman would have to find a way to rein him in, and quickly. Deputy Mulligan tuned Thornton's chatter out. He didn't think writers were particularly useful people, and a huge manhunt for one struck him as idiotic. Certainly not worth the missed opportunity for coffee and pie. It wasn't even clear what the man had done, except run from them at the trailer park. Mulligan knew he wasn't alone. The sheriff's patience with the Fed was running out. As the deputies hauled Wake and Wheeler away, Agent Nightingale eagerly examined the stack of papers Wake had been carrying. It was incomplete, a collection of random pages, but there was enough. He saw his own name in there, among others. His hand shook with emotion. Finally, it was proof. He had been right all along.
So there you have it. That's the script pages that you find in episode 4, and hopefully they filled in some of the little details in the story for you. Now, on with episode 5.
A record crowd from the neighboring counties. Naturally, we hope to break the record set by last year's Moose Fest in our neighboring town, Watery. Ladies and gentlemen, some people have asked me, what's the big deal about Deer Fest? And I think that this sums it up. It's about friendship and community. We've got a great party coming up. Let's try to hold it in until tomorrow and get through the night in one piece, all right?
I have it. Someone will come for it when the time is right. Thomas said so. He wrote it. The key is insurance. It's my job to keep it safe. Safe in the light. Always in the light.
All the manuscript pages were gone. The FBI agent had taken them.
I think my tongue just took a crap in my mouth. Ugh. Oh, wait, we're in jail now? Oh, ow. Ow, this is not good.
That about sums it up.
Oh, I am never drinking again.
I need to talk to Weaver. She's the one in the song. The Lady of the Light.
What, the crazy lady? Ugh, whatever you say, Al, but we're stuck here. They're not gonna...
interviewed Wake.
I had some reading to do first, Sheriff, and let me tell you, it was an interesting read. Well, I've got you now, Raymond Chandler. It's all here. All the evidence, including conspiracy to murder a federal agent. There's no way you're walking out of here. You hear me in there, Bret Easton Ellis? Huh?
Agent Nightingale, I want to talk to your superior.
Well, we all want things, Sheriff. I wanted my... Look, that's not possible right now.
Agent Nightingale, I insist.
Wake, what's wrong?
Lady, are you stupid? It's a trick. It's an obvious trick.
Okay, I've had enough of this crap. Wake, I'm gonna trust you with this.
You're joking.
Agent Nightingale, your opinion would matter more if you were sober and if I actually believed you were here on official business.
Whoa! Get back in the cell, Stephen King. The only way you're leaving this place is over my dead... Wait a minute.
Oh my god!
Your dead body?
We need light. It's the only way to fight this thing.
In my office. I've got your things there. Follow me.
Oh man, we're sitting ducks with the lights out.
Stay cool. I can get the emergency power on.
To answer your question, Mary, 6 chapters, or episodes rather, plus 2 DLCs, plus a standalone expansion called American Nightmare.
Here are your things. Wait, what do I need to know? What do you need from me?
They can be hurt in the light, only in the light. And I need to find Cynthia Weaver. She can help me stop this.
Light. Check. Cynthia. She lives in the old decommissioned power plant.
By the way, is it
pretty quickly in the rescue chopper? Come on, let's get back to your friend.
Is it my imagination, or does that look like one of those old TRS-80 Model 1s?
I need you to stay here. What? No. We're going to fetch our ride, but I have friends who need to be warned about this, and I can't be in 2 places at once. I need your help.
Well, okay.
Here's a list of people and phone numbers. I need you to call them and tell them you have a message from me. Night Springs, okay? They'll know what to do.
Night Springs? Like the TV show? Gotcha. Oh, hey, that radio guy is on the list. Maine. Who's Frank Breaker? He related to you?
My dad.
Hey, is this like a secret society?
Can you do this? You'll be safe here. The backup power's on. These guys need to be alerted, just in case we don't come back.
You'll come back for me though, right?
As soon as we get the chopper ready. Thanks, Wheeler. I owe you one. Okay, let's go, Wake. Through the back.
In case you're wondering, that list of people that she wanted him to call are actually agents of the FBC, the Federal Bureau of Control, which is obviously a reference to the game Control, which is their newest game. And the FBC, their job basically, objects of power, places of power, things like this. That's what they deal with.
My hangover wants a pizza. You think there's any way I can order one out?
Oh, those old 8-inch floppies? Here's one for you. Until about 5 years ago, the nuclear silos were still using those. The big 8-inch floppies. Because when you're talking about nuclear warheads, old, reliable, and unhackable is far more important than new and internet connected.
Oh, hell. Whatever took Nightingale must have broken the gate controls. We can't reach the gate's control box from here. We need to get to the other side over the rooftop.
I'll go. I'll open the gate for you once I'm across. You stay here in the light and cover me, Sheriff, okay?
In the same vein, I was reading somewhere about a textile manufacturer. Basically clothing patterns and stuff like that. That was still using 5 1/4-inch discs. And they're like, well, yeah, we could get hardware that used...
I needed to reach the rooftop to get to the other side of the gate.
And they were like, yeah, we could, if we wanted to, replace those with machines that used 3 1/2-inch discs, or even USB drives. But that would cost thousands of dollars, and where's that money coming from to get new machinery? So yeah, there's still lots of places that use the 5 1/4s and the 3 1/2s. Well, not anymore. The silos, the nuclear silos finally got retrofitted with modern drives. Although they left the computer the same, they just figured out how to get the software onto a 3 1/2-inch disc. Wasn't easy because the old computers weren't designed to interface with a modern 3 1/2-inch drive. But they figured out a way to do it. But as far as the discs go, you can still get blanks in all 3 sizes. 3 1/2, 5 1/4, 8-inch. You can still get them. Because there's a lot of new old stock still out there. And in addition to that, there's boutique manufacturers who will do a production run of discs if you order like 10,000 of them at once.
Hey, Sheriff! Your password. Night Springs? What's that all about?
It's a stupid joke we had. That Bright Falls is the original inspiration for the TV show. This town can get weird at times. Never this weird, though. You need to bypass the damaged control box.
What am I, an electrician? Hold on!
Ah, damn! That's smart.
Good job, Wade. Okay, stick close. Our first stop is the town hall. The keys to the chopper are there.
Oh, by the way, something to keep an eye out for in this part of the game is that at some point that Deerfest float is going to attack you. It turns out, apparently, the dark presence can parallel park like one son of a bitch. Because, I mean, it runs at them, and then when it misses, it perfectly parallel parks by drifting into the spot. I'm like, damn, the dark presence must have been Ken Block in a previous life or something. Here it comes. Watch. Oh, it didn't do it this time. Well, shoot. Now look where it is now. Parallel parked. And look where I am now, back at the last checkpoint.
Good job, Wade. Okay, stick close. Our first stop is the town hall. The keys to the chopper are there.
And again, back to the checkpoint.
Smart.
Good job, Wade. Okay, stick close. Our first stop is the town hall. The keys to the chopper are there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that song, actually. I don't listen to the radio a whole lot. And yeah, it's a long way out of the way, but it's worth it for 2 of those signal flares. I just wish it had been flashbang grenades instead.
Over here, Wake! The chopper's in the other direction!
I actually have been in a couple of really small towns in the line of the work that I used to do, because I used to do on-site service and support for Dell. And you'd go out to these little communities like Cove, Arkansas, which has a population of 90 on a good day. And half of them are out of town during working hours because obviously there's not a lot of places in town to work, so they commute. And I think Cove really does have like one stoplight, if I remember correctly. And that's on the highway, of course. It probably was. I mean, once you get outside of Texarkana city limits, the next city of any decent size, it depends on which way you go. If you head further into Texas...
I'm gonna want explanations, you know. For example, what the hell happened to Rose? She's seriously messed up now.
The same thing I think happened to me after I arrived.
If you head into Texas, eventually, if you head down I-30, you eventually hit Dallas. That is a big city. If you head towards Louisiana, you end up in Shreveport. But aside from Shreveport and Dallas, the nearest city of any size, of any quote-unquote decent size like you're talking about, Greenville, Texas has a population of about 25,000, and Hope, Arkansas has a population of about 35,000. But I mean, you don't get a lot. You get these little cities in Texas. You get cities with population of 7,000, anywhere from 3,000 to 8,000. In Arkansas, you get little towns with populations of anywhere from 100 to maybe 2,000.
That's how New Yorkers were rude.
So yeah, where I live, big cities are few and far apart. Haha, you missed. Yeah, I know about that. I've heard about that place, and I bet you that there's a couple of people that volunteer their time.
Wait, over here! There's light! I have a key. Watch my back, Wade.
Sure.
It's an ambush.
Wait, over here! There's light! I have a key. Watch my back, Wade.
It's an ambush.
And here we go, back to the checkpoint again. $3 for a hot dog.
I have a key. Watch my back, Wade.
It's an ambush.
Let's go, Wake. Okay, someone's messed with the fuse box here, but you should be able to jury rig it while I find the keys.
I already got electrocuted once today. How about I look for the keys and you get burned for a change?
Fine. They should be in the clerk's office on the other side of the building.
Can you really blame him?
The message was from Barry. He was getting worried at the station. He wanted us to hurry.
Actually, Carrie, that does remind me of something kind of funny from, you remember I mentioned doing the Far Cry games? Now, I'm not going to do Far Cry 2, but if I did, in Far Cry 2, one of the things that they had to do was they actually had to put a limit on how far a fire could spread. Because
Okay, Sheriff, I got the keys.
when they were testing it, when they were testing the game, and this is before they added the limit on how far a fire could spread before it went out, they actually threw a Molotov cocktail and it eventually burned the entire country. That's a big fire. Of course, then again, at the other end of the spectrum, they put a limit in the game. And one time, when I was playing, I threw a Molotov, and it hit this enemy right on top of his head. Now, hair is normally pretty flammable, right? But I hit him on top of the head with a Molotov cocktail, and it went out. I want to know what kind of hairspray he's using. You know, where can I buy some? A fireproof hairspray?
Barry?
Why isn't he inside?
Oh God! Oh God!
Barry! Look out! Barry, move! Barry!
He made it inside, Wake. He's okay. The storefront's blocked. Come on, Wake. Let's go around. We can meet him in the back.
Goody. So we get to detour through the park. It's not recorded when Bright Falls was first formed as a nameless trading post, but it became a town when the Bright Falls Mining Company started to operate nearby in 1878. It was then that Hubert Biltmore, a fur trapper, and Amos Gunderson, a pioneer from Tacoma, decided to build a post office, saloon, and hotel, all operating from the same building. It was through the efforts of these two men that Bright Falls became the permanent and thriving town it is today. Trust no one in the dark. Well, yeah, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? Kind of glad I picked up that heavy-duty lantern in the town hall.
We can make it through the bookstore. Wheeler should be waiting for us in the backyard.
Get the hell down or I'll call the sheriff.
Oh, hi, Doc. I've got it. Don't worry about it.
Sarah, about time somebody showed up. All the shooting in the air is idiotic. One of these days they'll kill somebody. And over Deerfest.
I know. Go back to bed. He's got a point, Wade. Look, this town can't take this.
It's me they want. The sooner I get out of here, the sooner you can all get back to life as usual.
I hope you're right. Come on, let me get this door open.
Wait, you got the keys to the bookstore?
Perks of being the sheriff. A girl needs to get around. They're really taking advantage of your presence here, Wade. I heard they're selling a lot of your Alex Casey books.
Right now, I'm not a big fan of my own writing.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have to consider the location and the fact that the nearest, like in the event of a forest fire, why do you want to bet that helicopter does double duty as a firefighting helicopter or a rescue helicopter?
Look, wait, maybe that's him. That's the way to the chopper.
Because I just don't see any other reason why a small town sheriff's department would have it. That would be nice. Anytime this game is that generous with ammo, it's time to be suspicious.
I'm gonna give Pastor Howard a piece of my mind about this lock. Ugh, I told him to get it fixed.
Here they come.
Let's take a break. Omega-3 fatty acids are good for your heart.
Fortunately, I had the flashbang for that one.
Okay, it's open. Let's go, Wake.
Wow.
We keep them lit all night long on the night before Deerfest.
Why?
Well, it's tradition. We're almost there. We'll have to go through the basement to get to the parking lot.
Yeah, there's no way going through the crypt will turn out to be a bad idea.
I detect sarcasm.
You have the right to
And you have the right to be flashbanged.
Did you call 911?
Guess that one saw the light, huh? You didn't like that one? A tough audience. Well, I got plenty more.
What are the Christmas lights for?
Protection, man. Like garlic against vampires.
Vampires.
The helicopter's just across the parking lot and up the hill. Come on!
You know, Barry's got a point. I'm not entirely sure how he's keeping those lit, considering those look like the old-fashioned bulbs that ran on AC power.
The Bright Falls General Store is now my favorite place in the entire world. See this headlamp? It's like a superpower. I can just look at one of those things and they die. It's my flaming eye of Mordor. I wish I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I wish you didn't say that either.
I want a headlamp. Last one.
Bastard.
Someone throws a damn school bus at your head and you're about to take a helicopter ride with someone who may or may not have a pilot's license, or cleared for departure to Night Springs. No headshot.
I always talk this.
Right there!
Flash bang.
Oh, I'm never gonna get used to this.
The helicopter's just up ahead. I'll need a while to prep for takeoff.
Don't take too long. I want to get out of here.
And see, there's the proof, the fact that it's actually at the fire department. And it's a Coast Guard helicopter, no less. Well,
You will never turn back.
We're not ready to stop it.
Get ready, I'll hold them off.
kiss this town goodbye.
Like this.
Right, the city's a war zone. King Kong, mutant alligators, and Alex Casey shoots the place up every weekend. Look, I never even carried a gun until a couple of days ago.
Well, my dad used to be a cop there. Tells some pretty wild stories.
Stuff like this?
No, just normal bad stuff. Kind of like your books, Wake. I used to tease Dad that he was just like Alex Casey.
You've read me.
Oh, sure. You're a pretty good writer. A little heavy on the metaphors, maybe.
Nobody's ever said that before.
We're coming up on the power plant. See the lit building over there? And that's the dam further up the river. I can't land here. I'll take her down the road across the river.
Just get me there, Sheriff.
And of course, all the ammo that I had, gone. I'm back to just the revolver again. But at least it gave me a flashlight and an ammo chest with unlimited ammo. I don't think I can get through that.
I had to do something about the chain for the door to open.
Well, it'd be great if I remembered what I had to do to the chain, because shooting it ain't the answer. Shoot the wood, of course, not the chain.
And here's a new song from a band that they always remind me of our local rock legends, the Old Gods. Couldn't tell you why. I guess it's just, one of those things. Anyway, here's Poets of the Fall and their latest single, War.
Fun bit of trivia. The old gods of Asgard is the Poets of the Fall. That's the reason why they remind him of the old gods. And there I'm dead because I didn't know there was a guy behind me. I knew that was going to happen. And again. And again. Out of my way, damn it. And again. And hit by the barrel again.
The power plant glowed in the night. It was close, but I had to find a way across.
Well, thank you, Cynthia, for the one flashbang. Oh, but of course. come on. And you essentially have to navigate a maze. Yeah, and it's not like he can duck under that. The dude barely even knows how to dodge. Although I imagine it's more of a case of my timing being bad than anything else.
Such philosophical concerns are by necessity abstract. And yet, some of us can find concrete proof of the nature of our existence in Night Springs. Tonight's episode, an absence of creativity.
Hello, Martha. What did you want to show me?
Oh, Lydia, thank God you're here. Please, it's in the basement.
Oh, Martha. Oh, that's amazing.
precise, I put everything here but that.
Really? But what is it?
Oh, I guess the temptation is to call it whole, but it's really an absence, a profound lack of reality.
In Martha's basement?
Yes, it was doing so well, too. I came up with 2 old ladies and put something really weird in the basement. It was a great start. I'm completely locked now. I can't imagine what I was up to.
Well, surely it's just an ordinary basement.
Is it? Why did you call your friend here, then?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, well.
Couldn't you just ignore it?
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. It would probably turn into a plot hole. Might be one already. Could sink the whole enterprise.
Oh, my.
Listen, ladies, not to be rude, but I'm really not at all sure where I'm going with this, and you're just not helping. You should just go back upstairs for a cup of coffee while I try to figure out what I'm up to.
Well, if you think that's best.
Maybe I should just stop here. Or is that too moronic?
Is that too moronic? Indeed. Who can tell? Is a fine line
We managed to lose the flock. You're almost at the power plant. Keep going. We'll give you support.
Well, it'd be nice if you would stop running out of breath.
I recognized the logo on the power plant sign. I'd seen a version of it painted all over the area, signifying hidden caches of supplies.
Hold it right there!
Miss Weaver! Cynthia! I'm a friend!
Prove it!
You knew Zane! Thomas Zane! You're the Lady of the Light in the song! You can help me!
About time! Young man, I've been waiting a very long time for you. It's in the well-lit room.
Excuse me?
What you need to drive the darkness back. Well-lit room's at the dam. I built the room to keep it safe.
Will it help me find Alice? Will it get me back to the cabin? Fine, let's go. I can get my friends to come back with the helicopter.
We won't go outside. Never at night. That's rule number 1. We could be breaking rules up then, and where has that gotten us, Old water pipe. Something was damaged at the transformer yard. All the reserve power. Without it, the pipe will go dark. The power to the yard must be cut.
Let me guess. You want me to do it?
Young man, you're the one who likes to break the rules. I can't be outside in the dark. The kill switch is outside.
Hi, guys. You want to come this way? Come on, come this way. And one tried to come through.
Sent me to cut the power to the transformer yard. I was willing to do grunt work for her to get her to help me. I hoped Weaver was dependable. I'd stumbled into this crazy world a little over a week ago. She had been living this insanity for decades. I could see the kill switch that would cut the power to the transformer yard. Now I had to find a way to reach it.
And you see, the thing is, you have to get all 3 of them at the same time. Ah. There we go.
Who designs these things? The transformer yard went dark and dead. Weaver's water pipe passage should have
Thanks.
Who designs these things? The transformer yard went dark and dead. Weaver's water pipe passed.
That's all in the timing. I just had bad timing and stepped on it right as it was starting to open. Oh, Duddy.
Take care of your kids.
This way, young man. Follow me. Come, the pipe's empty now. We're ready to go.
Cute one, Carrie.
This way. We need to go. I knew them both, Tom and Barbara. Had such a crush on him. Such a beautiful man. I was jealous. There was a part of me that was maybe a little glad when she had the accident. And then Tom started writing and woke the darkness up. He tried to bring it back, but you can't do that. There are no free rides like that.
Okay, I'm going to comment on what she said, even though it's a minor spoiler at this point. What Zane did was he tried to write, after Barbara's accident, he tried to write her back to life. The catch is cause and effect. There has to be a reason why she came back. Otherwise, the Dark Presence is going to fill in the details for you, and that's what happened. It's kind of like a jackass genie who takes what you say literally, but if you leave anything out, it's going to interpret it to its own best advantage. Like the djinn from Wishmaster. You know, it's like, don't you want something more? Don't you want to escape? Yeah. Boom. And he's in a water tank, you know. Exactly. Narrative inertia.
In that case, young man, perhaps you're a smarter man than Tom was. Which looked like her, but it wasn't. Barbara was sweet. He didn't understand until it was too late. He tried to undo it, wrote himself, her, everything he'd ever written out of the world. Oh, he was so famous. And afterward, no one knew. Oh, Tom. He left only one thing behind him, in case it happened again. Insurance. He trusted me. Or perhaps used me a little. Tom knew how I felt. Knew I wouldn't refuse him. I built the well-lit room gently. It's been waiting for you. We are characters trapped in a story. And none of us will survive to see the end. This isn't stopped. She'll twist the story to her own dark ends.
How do you know all this?
Tom, that's the way he wrote it. He still talks to me. On television, beyond, from below. We've both been touched by the darkness, young man. He saved us both with light. The darkness is with you. is a stay. This pipe will take us directly to the well-lit room.
Okay, I need to call my friends, tell them where we're going.
Hello? Al!
Barry, we're headed to the dam in one of the pipes. Meet us there.
Okay, I'll tell Sarah.
It's Sarah now?
Whoa! No! For the sweet love of...
Barry! Barry! We gotta go see if they're okay.
They're probably dead. You must reach the well-lit room. This is no time to be a selfish idiot.
That's my best friend!
Well, be a fool. I'll use the pipe. I'll meet you at the dam if you make it.
At least I didn't have to worry about her. She knew how to stay safe.
And at least for once, I still have all my weapons. Yep, still episode 5. Episode 5 is a lot longer than I remember it being. I might have to do episode 6 and the DLC in another stream. I like the fact that the game does kind of subvert the 30-second light, the whole 30-second flashlight trope. I mean, when you boost the light, the battery doesn't last super long, but in fact, the rest of the time, and that's what I'm doing back here, is I'm letting the flashlight recharge on its own instead of using up more of the battery, because I'm going to need it.
crash site looked bad, but as far as I could tell, the wreck was empty.
Barry! Barry!
Over here! Wait, I see them!
Hang in there, I'm coming!
Get the hell back, you freaks! Ha! You know. I think they're... Oh no! You know when to make an entrance, Wade. We were ready to make like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I have a different ending in mind.
Yeah, fine. Thanks for asking.
I knew you'd be all right.
How's that?
The flaming eye of Mordor? Weaver will meet us at the dam.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with my gonna stick with the shotgun because I have so much ammo for it. I wish it would let you carry any two weapons, like the shotgun and hunting rifle, but the revolver is always one of your weapons, and then the other weapon slot is one or the other.
Running uphill while the crazy bunch of demon hicks try to take your head off with an axe. You know your helicopter crash landed in Night Springs.
Give it a rest, Barry.
You see those lights? That's the elevator we need to take.
You can't be alive.
What the hell is that thing? It's everywhere! Crap, there's more than one of them!
Nothing moves like that. It's impossible.
These guys do.
Ah! Al! Do something!
He's too fast. I can't get a shot.
No, now! Al, they're all over the place!
How many of them are there? Where'd that one go?
Ah, this can't be happening!
Wait, this is bad. This is really bad.
Was that it? Are we safe?
That was... wow. I think we're okay.
Can we just stay here until morning, Al? Please?
What, you wanted to stand under a light all
The
night?
elevator. I'm keeping watch.
I hear something moving around.
And of course there's going to be another ambush.
They're coming. We have to hold them off. Right there. Keep them off me. It's almost here, Wade. Just hold on.
Al, the button!
almost there. There's an entrance into the dam at the top. What's the plan, Wade?
Well, Weaver's crazy, but she's got something Zane left behind. Something to fix this.
Gee, could you be a little more vague?
Thomas Zane? Seriously? Might as well be Paul Bunyan or Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, he was real.
Let's be careful, okay?
Well, Thomas Zane was real. And then he tried to write his girlfriend back into existence. Everything went wrong, and to save the world, he wrote himself out of reality. Yeah, great. No other way up than waiting for this thing. Well, it would be nice if it did what it was supposed to do. Ah. And of course...
What's going on? We can get to the dam through here. What's happening out there?
You guys go ahead and find Weaver. She should be in the dam now. I'll have to make it alone through the top.
Okay, wait. Good luck. Don't get yourself killed.
Ah, please, be careful.
I'll take good care of Barry, Wade. You just look out for yourself.
Kidding me. I was ridiculously outnumbered. The searchlight could even the odds.
go no further. Stop now.
I hate this part.
You made it. Well done. I'm glad I was wrong. It was a foolish chance to take. Don't worry about the noise. We're safe here. I have looked after the well-lit room for many, many years now. There's no shadow in the well-lit room. The hour is fail-safe, and all the bulbs are numbered and changed regularly based on their make and model.
Right.
There's an old army base at Raincoat Point, north of here. It was active during the Second World War. They operated here back then. They must have built this.
Yes, they did. It's my place now. Take it, and I won't need to worry about the room anymore, because 6 and 33 and 118 need changing soon, and I don't want to climb up the ladder to change them because it's very late, and I'm tired. And if you take it, I won't have to do that anymore.
The page was autobiographical, a memory from my childhood. But I didn't write this. It was a page written by Thomas Zane. None of them were supposed to exist anymore.
Alan, 7 years old, would fight sleep to the bitter end. When he did sleep, he soon woke up, screaming, the nightmares fresh in his mind. One evening, his mother, sitting by his bed, offered him an old light switch. She called it the clicker, and flicking the switch would turn on a magical light that would drive the beast away. To imbue the talisman with all possible power, she added that it had been given to her by Alan's father. Alan never knew him, and anything of his took on mythical proportions in his mind. With the clicker firmly in his hand, Alan finally slept like a baby. Now, almost 30 years later, Alan thought of this as he stood on the rim of Cauldron Lake, the clicker in his hand. He took a deep breath and jumped.
My mind swirled. I'd given the clicker to Alice, yet it was here. Zane had written it into existence in a story I had written. I can get to her now. I can finish this. Previously on Alan Wake, I wrote a horror story that has come true. Thomas Zane did the same in the 70s.
You will go no further.
If I continue like the Dark Presence wants me to, the story I'm writing won't save Alice. It's a horror story. No one will survive.
You knew Zane! Thomas Zane! You're the Lady of the Light in the song!
Yeah.
There's something behind to help me. The clicker.
Alan thought of this as he stood on the rim of Cauldron Lake, the clicker in his hand. He took a deep breath and jumped.
I can get to her now. I can finish this.
So, isn't that a fun mind screw? Who wrote who into existence? I mean, Zane wrote about Alan and the clicker. Alan gave the clicker to Alice, and yet there it is, because Alan wrote it into the story, and Zane. So it's one of those things. How much of this, if any of it, how much really exists, and how much of it is all in Alan's mind? There's just no way to tell. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the manuscript pages for episode 5, and episode 6 and the DLC will just have to wait for the next stream.
Nightingale tried to make sense of the manuscript. It was disjointed and strange. He didn't understand half of it, but it all rang true. Impossibly true. He took out his hip flask when he reached the page that described how he reached the page that made him take out his hip flask. It wasn't the booze that made his mind reel. Nightingale felt the situation veering out of his control, but the gun at least felt steady in his hands. He was ready to fire, resolved that he would let this happen over his dead body. And yet he hesitated. He had seen this moment before, read it in the page. He was transfixed by the déjà vu and the horror that he was a character in a story someone had written. Then the monstrous presence burst in behind him and dragged him into the night. The darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's face was furious. The story in the manuscript had been making it stronger all the time, but now the light had set the writer free and hurt it, weakened it. It was only a matter of days before the dark presence would be strong again, but meanwhile, it would be difficult to recapture the writer. Cynthia Weaver worked hard, following her obsessive rituals, sometimes fighting them, always giving in to them in the end. She haunted the halls of Bright Falls' abandoned power plant. She marked her caches with light-sensitive paint that could only be seen by eyes that had been touched by darkness and saved by light like she'd been. She was preparing defenses and supply lines for the war she knew would come. The war between the forces of light and darkness. For it to be free, the dark presence needed the writer to finish the story. Again and again, the story let it get frustratingly close to the writer without letting it capture him. It was bound by the events depicted in the manuscript, but it could pursue the writer indirectly, put others on the task, and stop those who would help him. It took over everything in its path, made them its puppets, and sent them after Alan Wake. Alice had screamed until she had no voice left to scream. Around her, the darkness was alive. It was cold and wet and malevolent and without end. She was a prisoner, trapped in the dark place. The terror would have burned her mind out, but one thing made her hang on. She could sense Alan in the dark. She could hear him. She could see the words he was writing as flickering shadows. He sensed her too. He was trying to work his way to her. Barry was in his element, making calls, making things happen, even if he didn't entirely know what those things were. He wouldn't let the hot sheriff chick down. Even if every noise he heard from outside, and he heard plenty, made him jump. He had only paused to text Al a message, told him to hurry up. Suddenly, Barry froze in mid-dial. A window broke somewhere in the building, and then the lights went out. Barry got back to his feet inside the Bright Falls General Store and dusted himself off. Right next to the cans of baked beans was a locked case filled with flare guns, and yet here was a conveniently placed barrel of crowbars. Barry's smile widened as he realized that this was the classic movie scene where the hero had to gear up and arm himself to the teeth. Barry threw himself into the role. The story I had written in the cabin had come true. Touched by the dark presence, I had written a horror story, but the end was still missing. The story was incomplete, and the last unfinished page of the manuscript still sat in the typewriter in the cabin study. If I could get back there, if I could read the page, then I could write my own ending to this story and save Alice. Sarah was almost starting to relax. Maybe they could turn this into a win yet. Suddenly, there was a piercing sound, like a table saw gone wild, as 100 birds made out of shadows swarmed into the rotor. The chopper bucked wildly and the board lit up, telling her what she already knew. They were going down. Barry Wheeler screamed next to her. Thomas Zane knew he had to remove all that had made this horror possible, including himself. That was the only way to banish the dark presence he had unleashed and now looked at him through the eyes of his dead love. But he also knew that despite his best efforts, it might someday return. So even as he wrote himself and his work out of existence, he added a loophole as insurance, an exception to the rule. Anything of his stored in a shoebox would remain. Making her way through the water pipe alone, Cynthia was angry at the writer. Foolish young man, taking unnecessary risks. And the way he broke the rules. Didn't he understand what was at stake? Since the terrible days in the 70s, she hadn't wavered once, as hard as it had been. She was tired of protecting the town all these long years, and now only wanted to rest. The Poet and the Muse, lyrics by Old Gods of Asgard, the chorus. And now to see your love set free, you will need the witch's cabin key. Find the Lady of the Light, gone mad with the night. Find the Lady of the Light, still raving in the night. That's how you reshape destiny. Children of the Elder God lyrics by Old Gods of Asgard. The first verse and chorus. Warriors, torchbearers, come redeem our dreams. Shine a light upon this night of otherworldly fiends. Odin's might be your guide, divorce you from the same. Hammer's way will have its say, rise up in their name. O memory and thought, jet black and clawed, children of the Elder God, scourge of light upon the dark. Children of the Elder God lyrics by Old Gods of Asgard, the second verse and chorus. Scratching hag, you can rake your claws and gnash your crooked teeth. You've taken slaves like ocean waves, now feel the ocean seethe. Father Tor bless the war between the dark and light. In their songs let their wrongs bring disillusion's night. O memory and thought, jet black and clawed, children of the Elder God, scourge of light upon the dark.
Okay, there you go. That's all the manuscript entries for episode 5. Unfortunately, episode 4 ran way longer than I remember it being, so there's no way I'm going to get to episode 6 tonight. Episode 6 and the DLC and American Nightmare are just going to have to wait for starting on the next stream. So, with that in mind, I'm going to end it here. Again, a reminder for anyone who is new to the channel and wants to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your night.